Hi friends, welcome to your workout. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to talk about weights and equipment very quickly. Weights for today. I have a set of 3-pound weights and a set of 5-pound weights. Please use any amount of weight that one, you're comfortable with, and two, aligns with your goals, okay? So I've gone up in weight because my goals in my 40s are to maintain muscle mass and to combat loss of bone density. So I've gone up a little bit in weights. You do not have to. If you're someone who prefers 1-2-pound weights, just stick with that. That's gonna be fine. All right, and then equipment for today. I have a loop resistance band, which is totally optional. And then I have a Pilates ball, which is also optional, but I recommend having something to squish into, like a small pillow or just roll up a ball. That's gonna be just fine for today. All right, friends, as soon as you're ready to warm up, you can press play on this video. Let's begin by stepping our feet straight down from the hips in parallel, and then we raise one heel. We're going to alternate heel raises without really changing our head height. I'll show you what we want to avoid. It's this. See how my head is bouncing up and down? I want you to try to use your lower body to absorb all of that movement. So think about keeping your head the same height. We're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring both heels down. We're going to lift and lower. Good, so all 10 toes pressing evenly into the floor. Tiny bend in the knees and shoulders relaxed and down. Lift for 4, 3, 2, last one. And then let's walk our feet out wider than hips. We're going to alternate toe taps. We're taking the leg as far out to the side as we can, and we're tapping just the big toe. So think about keeping your pinky toe lifted, your knee points straight ahead. Let's add an arm reach. Same side as the toe that's tapping, we reach straight up for the ceiling and continue to take the leg out to the side. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, 1, and then we take the arm across the chest. Good, so your hand and your foot going in opposite directions here. Try to keep your chest pointed straight ahead. I'll show you what we want to avoid is this. See how my chest is going from side to side? I have a significant twisting happening in my torso. We want to keep your chest pointed straight ahead. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Across for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go up 2 and across for 2. Again, up 2 and across for 2. Last time up 2, last time across. And then from here, we're gonna step our feet out wider than the hips. We're gonna pick up our toes. The external rotation comes from the hips, tailbone down, and then we bend and rise. Try to keep your shoulders up here. We want to avoid leaning forward. So your shoulders are gonna be stacked directly over your hips. That tailbone points straight down at the floor. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to take it back down from here, just a little tiny hip lift. Good, think about lift an inch, down an inch. So it's not a bounce, it's really controlled. Shoulders down, and then we're gonna circle the arms. Little circles. Doesn't matter which direction you're circling in, we're gonna go the other way in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's reverse the circles. Keep that same tiny hip lift going for the lower body. Good, we're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold it here. We're gonna do a big inhale. As you exhale, we're going to round the spine, crossing the arms like a hug, and then we inhale, elongating the spine. Good, so it's the cat from cat-cow. So you're bringing your gaze down to the floor so that rounding in the spine continues up into the neck. Good, let's do 2 more, please. Last one. And then we're going to rise up. Feet go back to parallel. Let's fold it forward. From here, tailbone is lifted. We're gonna do a bend extend in the legs. So feeling this stretch up the back of the legs. Heels are pressing down towards the floor. And as I extend the legs, I'm lifting my tailbone up a little bit higher. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's keep a bend in the knees. We're going to heel toe, feet under hips, and then let your head hang. So let your neck completely relax, and then reach for the floor as you roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Couple shoulder rolls up at the top. Good, let's do one more. All right, friends, we're going to grab our weights. I'm gonna be using my set of 5-pound weights, so I'm gonna go with my heavier, and we'll meet in the center of the room. We're also going to bring our band, optional. So your band is going around the legs, above the knee. All right, and then weights just in the hands. We're gonna step our feet out just slightly wider than the hips, softening the knees. So making sure we're not locking the knee joint, and then shoulders down. We're gonna take the arms up about chest height, and then we're gonna take the weights slightly wider than shoulders. So we have this V shape with the arms. Let's start with your left arm. You're going to flip your palm up, drawing your elbow towards your ribs, and then palm goes down as we extend the arm. Alternating, trying to keep the weights about chest height. And really check in here, see if you have any wiggles or wobbles as you move in the torso. We want to try to stabilize with the core, keeping everything else really still. Good, let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna bend the elbows, bring the weights to your shoulders. We're gonna lower the elbows, lift, and then extend the arms out to that V shape. Good, so really think about squeezing your elbows down right here. So it's a squeeze. You're gonna feel a lot of core work happening here. The lats, also shoulders working super hard. Good, let's do 4 more. We're pressing the feet evenly into the floor. 2. And then here's our last one. We're gonna bring the weights back to shoulders, elbows down. From here, we're going to press up, keeping the shoulders relaxed and down, and a hammer curl. So try to avoid your shoulders shrugging up towards your ears right here. Think about shoulder blades melting down your back as you lift. Good, let's do 4 more. Really controlling the weights, especially as we lower. Fighting gravity, last 2. Last one. Good, arms are down. From here, we're gonna bring our weights up to our shoulders, and then weight in the heels. We're gonna keep chest up, eyes up, finding a squat. A slight hinge is okay, but I'm trying to keep my chest up, eyes up. Weight in the heels. See if you can wiggle your toes here. Let's do 4 more. Here's 3, 2, last one. And then we're gonna take it back down into our squat. So from here, you're gonna take your left heel. We're going to lift, press the thigh out, in, heel goes down, other side. Good, so try not to let the band pull your knees together. I want you to keep your knees right over your ankles. Lift, press, down. We're trying to stay down nice and low here in our squat. If your lower back is talking to you, come up a little bit and or set down those weights. Good, we're gonna do 4 more like this. Here's 3, 2, last one. And then both heels down. From here, we're gonna go slow-mo. We're gonna rise. Left hand goes across the body. We're gonna do a little twist and sit. Other side. Twist and sit. As you twist, think about keeping your hip bones pointed straight ahead, elongating the spine as you twist. And we want to think about that twist coming from above the belly button. Couple more. Good, let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then we're gonna come on up. We're gonna take the weights together and then we're gonna take our hips back behind us. Slight hinge, bend in the knees. Let's take your left hand. You're gonna reach back, weights to heart. In this hinge, my gaze is down at the floor, probably 5 feet in front of my toes, keeping the neck in line with spine. Let's reach back for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll take that same arm back from here, just a little tiny lift. Good, arm is straight. I'm trying to keep my shoulders down away from my ears. Little tiny lift. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna take that arm, we're gonna bend the elbow, push it up, rise, and then we hinge, unfold the arm behind us. Push it up and hinge. Be really careful that you're not swinging, flinging that weight, relying on momentum. If you find you need to swing the weight, I want you to go down a little bit lighter or just use your body weight. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then we're gonna replace that hand. We're gonna bring it to heart and then you'll take your opposite hand. We're gonna reach back and weight to heart. I'm trying to keep my arm pretty close to the side of my body as I take it back. Let's do 4 more. 3, try to keep the ribs pulled in. 2, last one. And then we're gonna take the arm back. Arm is straight and just a little tiny lift. Try to keep your shoulders down away from your ears. A little tiny lift. Lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, we're gonna bend the elbow, shoulders over hips. We rise, arm overhead, and then we hinge, unfold the arm behind your back. Hello, triceps. And then we're getting a lot of core work on glutes from that hinge. Couple more. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one, and you can bring it up. All right, friends, excellent work. You can take your band off. You can set your weights aside. I'm going to switch weights here. So I'm gonna put my 5-pound weights down and then let's take 1 weight and our ball and come on over to the bar. So ball will go on the floor. Ball is optional. We're going to bring our ball fairly close to the bar. So you have a nice relaxed bend in your elbow. And then we're going to place our heels together on the ball. Balls of your feet are on the floor, small gap between the toes. And then we're gonna stand up nice and tall. So think ribs pulling in, neutral spine. I want you to bend your knees, lowering your tailbone straight down over your heels. We're gonna raise the weight and rise. So we're doing this big circle with the arm, but we're being really careful that we're not using momentum. So we're slowing the weight down as we lower. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna go in slow-mo. We'll take our leg farthest from the bar. You're gonna step it out. We're gonna bend, push the arm out in front, heels together, straight legs. And if the arm is tripping you up, you don't have to do the arm. You can do just lower body. And your step can be as small or as big as you want it to be. We want to be really soft on that landing. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, 1. And then we're gonna take the feet back out wide. So from here, we're gonna just hold this weight in place, outside heel. I want you to press your heel into the floor and lift. Really think about articulating your foot. So pressing it flat and then really raising that heel. Try to keep everything else really still. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna do a little dip. We're gonna dip for 3, 2, 1, and then heels together, straight leg, arm goes down. 3, 2, 1, rise. Good, try to make sure that we're not leaning forward here. Chest up, shoulders right over hips. I think I did an extra dip there, sorry. 2, 1, and up. 3, 2, 1, up. Good, let's do 2 more like this. Last one. We're gonna hold the heels together. So make sure your heels are pressing together, and then we'll go slow-mo. We're gonna peel the weight up. Bend the knees, reach forward, and we hinge and rise. So if your lower back is talking to you on that hinge, I want you to keep your weight at your heart, okay? So arm is optional, or you can set your weight down. When we hinge, we're keeping the tailbone still right over our heels. We're just lifting it, and we're hinging forward with a flat back, nice long spine. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna take it back to that hinge. From here, if this doesn't feel good for you, the arm up here, take your weight to heart. We're gonna just close the knees and then open weight to shoulder. Good, so on that squeeze, we're pressing inner thighs together. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then from here, we're gonna just do a little tiny dip down. Little dip. So my hips are still right over my heels. Little dip. Really bracing the core to keep that nice long spine. Dip for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. All right, friends, good work. Please set your ball aside, just somewhere that you're not going to trip on it. And then we're going to keep our bar on the same side. Let's step our feet to parallel. And then your outside foot, we're gonna keep our hips really still, okay? So your hips are gonna be perpendicular to the bar. Don't let this one move. We're gonna step back, pretty big step. Heel is lifted and then palmed out. So what I meant by that is we don't want this, okay? So try to keep your hips perpendicular. Palm points out away from your body. We're gonna bend the knees. So we're gonna come down into a lunge. And then let's just check, make sure knee is under hip here. And then we're going to raise, keeping the palm pointed back behind you. Try to keep your chest up here. Good, that back heel is lifted. And try to keep your shoulder down away from your ears right here. I can't get my arm all the way straight without my shoulder lifting. So I'm gonna keep my arm, it's not going all the way to straight, but that's okay. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Let's take it back down, and then from here, we're gonna just do that raise and lower. So keeping this shoulder down away from the ears, and then if you want a little more, you can raise your forward heel as you raise the weight. Good. Let's do a couple more. We're gonna do 4 more. 3, 2, last one, and then we're gonna turn our palm to point at the bar and then just a little dip here, little dip. You can give your glutes a little squeeze to release this quad, little dip. 4, dip 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna hold it here. We're gonna stay in our lunge, and then I want you to do a press towards the ceiling. We're gonna lower and then reach for the floor, extend the back leg, hinge. So we go lunge, press, and hinge. Watch your shoulders on the hinge right here. Make sure the side with the weight doesn't go down lower. I'll show you, it looks like this. So we don't wanna have any twist. You wanna keep your shoulders the same height. Good, we're gonna do 4 more like that. 3, 2, last one. And then I want you to just hold your hinge. We're gonna hold the hinge. From here, back heel's lifted, we're gonna raise the weight to our hip and lower. If you want a little more, you can lift that forward heel as you pull the weight to hip. Good, try to keep your elbow pointing straight back as you pull your weight up. Don't let it splay out to the side if you can. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we'll go slow-mo. We're gonna take the leg to the side. We're gonna flip the palm up, arm goes to the side. We're gonna do a little leg lift, tap the toe, and hinge. So when you take your leg to the side, try to keep your knee pointed straight in front of you. So your big toes tapping, your pinky toes lifted. We want to avoid allowing any external rotation in the hip. Good, we're gonna do 4 more here. 3, 2, and then here's our last one. We're gonna take the arm and leg back out to the side. So from here, try to shift your weight away from the bar. Make sure you're not leaning in towards your bar. And then arm and leg, we're gonna do a little bend, extend, teeny, teeny, tiny. So you'll feel a big difference from leaning in to leaning away. I want you to lean away. Then extend. 4, 3, 2, last one. We're gonna take the leg out super straight. I still have a little tiny bend in my elbow, and then just a little lift. Little tiny lift. Good, try to keep your hips level. Don't let this outside hip creep up on you. Little lift. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job, bring it down. You can set your weight on the bar and then face your bar. Hands on, and just walk it back. So we're creasing from the hips, tailbone points straight back behind you, and we have a neutral spine. So I'm thinking about lengthening my spine, and then let's walk our feet wider than hips. We're gonna curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling, and then let your chest kind of sink down here. My spine is an extension. I have this dip happening. My tailbone is lifted, feeling a big stretch in the shoulders, and then also up the back of the legs. Let's go to neutral spine. So tailbone points at the wall behind you. Left hand reaches for right big toe. And I'm looking under my underarm for the ceiling. Good, let's replace that hand. We're gonna take the opposite hand down, reaching for big toe. And we're looking for the ceiling under our underarm.
Try to keep the neck in line with spine. We don't want our head to hang down here, so we want to think of a nice straight continuation. Good, and then replace the hand. We're gonna bend the knees, heel, toe, feet under hips, and then just roll it up, paddle the heels. One more each side, please. And come on up. All right, friends, let's grab our weight and our ball. We're gonna head over to the bar on the other side. Placing your ball on the floor, you want to be fairly close to the bar here, so you have this nice relaxed bend in the elbow. Heels together, slight gap between the toes, and then the arm is gonna just go straight down, palm points at the bar, shoulders back. Let's bend the knees, taking our tailbone straight down over our heels as we circle the arm up. So we're doing this big circle with the arm. We're trying to be really controlled, so we're not swinging that weight. Good, let's do 4 more. 3, 2, 1. And then from here, we'll go slow-mo. We're gonna step our outside foot. You're gonna step out wide. We're gonna do a little fist bump, bend the knees, and heels together. Doesn't have to be a big step, or it can be a really big step. It's up to you. Kind of play around with your range of motions here. See what feels good for your body. And we're really soft on the landing. We're trying to make it a really controlled step down from our ball to minimize impact on our joints. Let's do 4 more. 2. Last one. And then we're gonna take it back out to our step. So from here, we're gonna just press our outside heel into the floor and lift. So really articulating the foot. We're doing a big press into the floor and then raising the heel. Try to keep everything else really still for 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna do our little dips. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, heels together. 3, 2, 1, up. I'm keeping my heel lifted as I step wide. 3, 2, 1. And in. I think I did an extra dip again there. Sorry about that. 1 and up. Let's do 3 more. 2. Last one. Good. From here, let's make sure our heels are pressing together, and then we're going to go slow-mo. So we're gonna peel this weight up towards our shoulder, bending the knees, and then we reach out, hinge it forward, and shoulders over hips. I have my hand slightly in front of my body on the bar. It's a lot more comfortable on the shoulder. And really use your lower abs pulling up and in to protect your spine. Keep your spine neutral. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're gonna take it back to our hinge. So from here, my tailbone is right over my heels. And then from here, we're gonna squeeze the knees together. Knees wide, weight to shoulder. Hello, inner thighs. Hello, glutes. And if you're not liking the arm, I want you to just keep your weight here. Out and in. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from here, we're gonna do knees wide. Weight can go at your shoulder, just a little tiny dip, dip. Good, making sure our tailbone is over our heels, so you don't want your butt to be back here, not a squat. Dip for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Good work, friends. You can place your ball somewhere that you're not going to trip on it.
And then we're gonna keep our bar on the same side, feet in parallel, and then our outside hip or outside leg, we're gonna step it back, big step back, but try not to take your hip with you, okay? We want to avoid this. So both hip bones pointed straight ahead, palm out, and then we're going to bend the knees. Let's check our form here. So knees should be straight down from the hip, and then we're going to raise the weight, palm back, and rise. And remember, it's not super important to get your arms straight. I want you to just keep your shoulder relaxing down right here. My shoulders shrug up if I take my arm all the way straight. So don't worry about getting a straight arm. Just try to keep your shoulders down, keep the palm pointed behind you. Good, let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then we're gonna take it back down. So from here, we're going to just raise and lower the arm. And then if you want, you can add your forward heel. Try to keep your chest up here, shoulders right over hips. You have 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're gonna turn our palm towards the bar and then just a little dip. Little tiny dip. You can squeeze your glutes a little bit if you want to release this quad. Feels pretty good. Little dip. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold it here. So from here, we're gonna raise our arm. We're gonna do a press, lower, and then reach for the floor, extending your back leg. When we hinge right here, try to keep your shoulders the same height. Avoid reaching down with your outside shoulder. Looks like this. I'll show you. Like this. So our goal is not to touch the floor. Our goal is to keep shoulders and hips in alignment. Good. Let's do 3 more. 2. Last one, and we're going to hold our hinge. So from here, I have pretty much a straight line from the top of my head to my back of my heel. We're gonna just pull the weight to our hip, elbow points back, and lower. And then if you'd like, you can add that heel raise with that forward heel. Try not to let your elbow splay out to the side. We wanna pull it straight back. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna flip our palm up. Take the leg out to the side, big toe touches. We're gonna do a little leg lift, tap, hinge. When you take your leg aside right here, keep your knee pointed straight ahead if you can. We're trying not to allow any external rotation in the hip. A good way to tell is only your big toe should tap. If all 5 toes are tapping, rotate your knee down from the ceiling, point it straight ahead. Good, let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and remember we're leaning away from the bar slightly. Last one. Let's hold it here. So from here, we're gonna take arm and leg. We're gonna do a little bend, extend. And we're trying to keep our shoulder right over our hip right over our ankle. So we want to avoid this, leaning into the bar. So try to keep a nice pull on the bar. Bend, extend. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it here, little tiny lift. So the lift is tiny. I'm trying to keep this hip bone the same height as this one, so we don't want this. Try to keep it the same height. Lift, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it down. Good work. You can face your bar, set your weight down, hands on the bar, and then just walk it back.
So body's in this nice 90-degree bend, tailbone points straight back. And then we're gonna do a heel toe, feet wider than hips. Curl your tailbone up towards the ceiling and then let your chest sink down. So just opening up the chest and shoulders, stretching up the back of the legs with that tailbone lifting. Good, let's come back to our neutral spine. So now we have this nice long spine. We're gonna take our left hand, reach for right big toes, looking up for the ceiling under our underarm, and switch. So we're still thinking about elongating our spine, space between the vertebrae, tailbone points straight back. And then we're going to replace our hand, bend in the knees, heel toe, feet under hips, and slowly roll up. Paddle out the heels here. Good, one more each foot, please. And come on up. All right, friends, we are gonna come down to the mat for the remainder of our class. Please bring your Pilates ball and your light weights. Floor work for today. I do have a set of light weights that I'm going to set aside for now, and we're going to begin with our Pilates ball. So our first series, I'll show you a couple of different options for your ball placement here. So option one is going to be the most stable option. You would just lay down on your side, make a little pillow with your arm for your head, and you're gonna just lay down on your side. Your ball's optional. You can press into it or you can let it roll away. Option two is going to be ball under your waist with your forearm down. So the ball is above the hip bone, and then think about it below the lowest rib. So this is option two. And then option three is going to be the most challenging for your core stability. I'm gonna demonstrate this option, but either of the other two options, everything else will be the same. So we'll place our ball under our hip, and then your bottom knee is gonna go out on a slight diagonal with your knee on the floor. Forearm down, elbow's gonna go straight under the shoulder or out a little bit farther. And then we're gonna stack the hips. So think about the very front point of your hip bones being right over the top of one another. Top leg, we're gonna float the leg up, flexing the foot, keeping the leg straight out from the hip, and then hand can go on the hip or on the floor, but be really careful if you have it on the floor that you're not twisting here, okay? So we wanna keep the shoulders right over one another as well. And then from here, we're gonna take that flex foot. We're going to lift and then point lower. Flex, lift, point lower. Range of motion is gonna be up to you. You can make this as big or as small as you want. Good, so really keeping the core bracing here, ribs pulling in, and then we continue to elongate that spine. Good, we're gonna do two more in each direction. Last one, flex up, point down, and then we're gonna keep our toe pointed. We're gonna point up, flex down. And if you're feeling like the ball under the hip isn't working for you, you can always come down and take either of those other two options. Point up and flex down. Let's do two more. Good, point up, flex down, and then one more time. We're gonna take the leg up, and from here, we're gonna bend the knee, lowering the leg. So we're gonna close the knees like a little book, and then lift, extend. Good, so we're taking that leg straight out from the hip, and I'd rather have you get a super straight leg than a really, really high lifted leg. So the height of the leg is not as important as the length. So we're just lengthening it out and bend. Let's do four more. 3, 2, last one. We're gonna hold the leg out straight and then just a little tiny lift. Good, as you're doing these lifts, we're continuing to elongate the spine, so try not to let your ribs sink down here. Give your neck a little wiggle if you need one, little tiny lift. Lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna slowly bring the leg down. Take the ball out from under your hip, and then we're gonna come up to seated, taking the leg that was our moving leg over the bottom one and just hug it in. Good work. So finding the floor with both sit bones, we're sitting up nice and tall. And then if you want, you can take your hand behind your body, fingers point away, and then just bring your chin towards your shoulder. Feeling a nice stretch in the hip. Good, let's bring the head back to center. We're gonna uncross the legs and then we're going to get the other side. So same options for your ball placement. Either under the hip, under the waist, or just in front of your body with your head down. And then we're gonna make our way onto our ball, bottom knee slightly in front of the body on the mat. So really important that we have this knee and shin down for support. And then we're gonna stack the hip bones, taking the leg long, elongate out through the spine. And then from here, we're gonna flex the foot. We're gonna do a flex up, point down. Good, so my leg is straight out from my hip. It's in line with my hip and my shoulders. Flex up and point down. How are we feeling? Let's do 2 more. Last time, flex up, point down, and then we're gonna keep our point. We're gonna point up, flex down. Really pressing through the heel on that flex foot. So we're being really intentional with our point and flex. Good, let's do 2 more. Last one. And then we're gonna hold the leg lifted. Toe is pointed, hips are stacked. We're going to bend, lower the knee down over supporting knee, lift, extend. And it does not have to come all the way down. Find a range of motion that you're able to really support your core so we don't have any movement. We want to focus on that stability. So if you're not able to make it this big without any shifting in your spine, I'd rather have you make your movement a little bit smaller and really stabilize. Good, let's do 2 more. Last one, we're gonna keep that leg out super straight, little tiny lift. Elongating out through the top of the head. We're making sure we're not dipping the ribs down, so keep that nice long spine, little lift. Lift for 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can bring it down. We're gonna gently take the ball out from under the hip and then come on up to seated, taking the leg that was your moving leg across your bottom leg. So finding the floor with both sit bones, we're sitting up nice and tall, and then your hand can go behind you and maybe bring your shoulder or your chin towards your shoulder. Let's do another breath here. And then you can bring your head back to center and gently uncross the legs. All right, friends, core work for today. So we're gonna begin placing the ball between the inner thighs, and then we're gonna walk the hands out. So your wrists are right below shoulders and then knees are right below hips. We're gonna elongate the spine, bracing the core, and then really press into the mat. So we have nice strong shoulders. We're gonna tuck the toes under. Big inhale, and then as you exhale, I want you to lift your knees. So think about lifting with the core and tap it down. Good, we're trying to keep our shoulders away from our ears. My gaze is in front of my fingers on the mat. So we have our neck in line with spine. Good, lift and lower. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and last one. Set the knees down, and then option here, you can keep your hands right where they are if you want a little bit more of a challenge. We're gonna walk the tips of our thumbs and the tips of our pinky or pointer fingers together. So we have this little diamond shape between the hands. Elbows point slightly out. We're gonna roll the shoulders back and down. And then from here, we're gonna inhale, lift the knees. As you exhale, we're gonna bend the elbows, lower the knees, and up. Good, so you can go back to doing that first set that we did if you're not liking the elbows. Make sure you're breathing. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good, bring it down. You can sit back on your heels, maybe do a little circle with the wrist. All right, friends, so we are going to have a seat on the mat, and then your weights are optional here. So if you want to use your weights, you're gonna just place one on either side of your body, soles of feet on the mat, and then the ball's gonna go between inner thighs, kind of closer to the knees here. And then we're gonna sit up really tall. So we have this long, we have a neutral spine, no tuck under in the tailbone. And then we're gonna just take our weights out about chest height. I want you to keep your neutral spine. We're gonna find a little lean back. So if you feel like your tailbone's tucking, you're gonna come up a little bit. So we wanna make sure we have neutral. And then from here, we're gonna just lower the arms and lift. Lower and lift. So I'm trying to keep my shoulders from shrugging. I'm trying to keep my tailbone from tucking. Try to keep the lower body really still. So we have a squeeze into that ball to stabilize and also to activate the inner thighs, pelvic floor, lower abs. Good, let's do 4 more here. 3, 2, last one. We're gonna hold it up and then let's take one arm. We're gonna pull the elbow back. You're gonna look over the shoulder, replace, and then opposite side. So we're just finding this nice little twist here. Really squeeze into your ball. We want to keep the lower body still. So think about the hips staying still. Twist comes from above the belly button. Let's do 4 more. 3, 2, last one. And then we're gonna slowly bring the weights down. You can set the weights aside. We're gonna sit up nice and tall and then slide your hips forward. We're gonna lay down on our back, keeping our ball right where it is. Hands can support you on the mat if you'd like, or you can do hands behind the head. And then we're gonna bring our legs up to a tabletop. So your knees are over your hip socket or out a little bit. We don't want them to go in here because your tailbone's gonna curl up. So knees over hip socket. We're gonna find our neutral spine. So we wanna make sure we don't have any arch or dip in our spine. So we're gonna find our neutral, hands behind the head, and then either you can lift your shoulders, keep your head on the mat, or if you have your hands on the mat, that's fine too. From here, we're gonna keep our neutral spine. We're gonna just lower the heels and lift. So my movements are really, really tiny because if I make it too big, my spine arches, and we want to keep this neutral at all times. 4, 3, 2, last one. And then from here, we're gonna keep the neutral. We're gonna just extend the legs out a tiny bit like you wanna stamp your footprints on the wall. And then we're stopping our knees straight over the hips. So just think out, little press out. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. You can bring your feet down. We're gonna take the ball out from under the knees, extend the legs, and arms up overhead. Just take a couple breaths here, allowing your abdominal muscles to relax. We're really expanding the ribs as we breathe in. Let's do 1 more breath here. Big inhale through the nose, exhale out of the mouth, and then you can slowly bring yourself up to seated. Great work, friends. You can let your ball roll away. We're gonna stretch. So bringing soles of feet together, knees wide. We're gonna sit up nice and tall here. And then keeping that long spine, if you want, you can do a little hinge forward from the hips to open up the hips a little bit here. We just wanna make sure we're not rounding the spine forward. So we have this nice long spine hinging from here. All right, and then let's bring it up. We're gonna take one leg out to the side, finding the floor with both sit bones. We're gonna reach for our toes and then reach up and over for the top corner of the room. So really feeling this nice lift, lengthening in the side of the body. And then we'll take the arm across the chest, Nose towards knee, shoulders down. All right, and then let's bring it up. We're gonna switch sides. So keeping the sit bones grounded, we reach over and then we reach up and over. So think about this nice lift in the side body, like you wanna touch the top corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. And then we'll take the arm across the chest, nose towards knee. Another breath here. And then we're gonna make our way to all fours. So if you have sensitive knees, you can grab a towel or something to go under your knees if you need it, or a blanket. We're gonna come to all fours. And then we're gonna do a big inhale. Lower the belly, lifting the chest, lifting the tail, making sure we're not overextending the neck. Lift comes from the chest, and exhale. Spine up, tailbone curls under. Eyes are on your thighs. One more time, inhale. One more time, exhale. Spine up. And then we're gonna come to our neutral spine. Let's bring our big toes together. Walk the knees out wide, and then we're gonna sit back on our heels. Let your forehead hang down to the floor. If you want to, just rest it on the floor, and then walk your fingertips out, stretching out of the shoulders. Let's walk our hands over to the right side, placing your left hand on top of your right hand, and then press your left hip back. Feeling a nice stretch in the left side of the body, and then in the right inner thigh as well. Let's walk the hands to center, and then we'll walk the hands over to the left with the right hand on top, and then we're gonna just gently push the right hip back. Good, let's walk our hands to center. And then we're gonna shift our weight forward. Hips come up over heels, and then we're gonna turn the toes under, lift the hips up, and push back to a down dog, and just pedal the heels here. Good, keeping the hips lifted, pressing back, nice strong shoulders, really pressing into the mat. Let's do one more pedal on each side, and then we're gonna step, hop or walk, feet to hands or hands to feet, and then just let your head hang here. Little tiny nod, yes please. Shake your head, no thank you. One more, yes please. And one more, no thank you. We're gonna shift our weight into our heels, a little deeper bend in the knees, and just roll up slowly. Take your time coming up, bringing the head up last. All right, friends, that is it for our workout. I hope you had a great class, and if you need anything this week, please let me know, Angela@thegoodbar.com, and have a great rest of your week.